Welcome, lovely viewers, to the Movie Explained. I'm thrilled to have you here today, ready to dive into XO, Kitty series explanation. Let's embark on this exciting journey together and make the most of our time. Your presence is truly appreciated, so sit back, relax, and let's get started. Song Covey Kitty begins with Kitty trying to enjoy summer vacation with her long-distance boyfriend Heon Lee, who is staying in South Korea. He misses the distance between them and the resulting connection problems. Receives a call from KISS, Korean Independent School of Seoul, a secondary school in South Korea, due to her application as an exchange student. Kitty is shocked to learn she has been accepted and has a week to travel to South Korea. She sits down with her father, Dr. Covey, and her stepmother Trina for surgery and tells them about KISS. Kitty explains that after losing her mother to Eve Song as a child, attending her mother's high school was her only chance to learn about her mother and her culture. After violent arguments, Dr. Covey complies and agrees to let Kitty go to Korea to be with Dae and relive her mother's youth. Kitty arrives in Korea and meets another student named Min-0, who is on the AISS. Miho is rude to Kitty at the airport, but Kitty ignores him and texts her sisters that she will surprise Dae at a late-night housewarming party. In Korea, Kitty misses the bus to school and decides to go to A.I.SS. by public transport. He's about to cross the street but crashes into Yuri's car. Yuri is a spoiled rich girl who tells Kitty that she studied at AISS also. Yuri is shocked to learn that Kitty moved from the US to South Korea for the person she loves. Yuri tells Kitty that she is also dating someone and is happy to be with him. Yuri drives Kitty to school but is upset that her partner doesn't reply to her texts. At the same time, the principal tells Dae that he will have to resign if he doesn't pay his tuition for the next school year. Dae manages to convince the administrator to give her until that evening to settle the tuition. Meanwhile, Yuri is called to a meeting with Rector KISS, Mrs. Lim Jean, and his mother. Gina tells Yuri that she was surprised that her friend Juliana's maids were close enough. Yuri shuts up her mother, saying she is just Juliana's friend and Gina should have trusted her. Yuri also tells his mother that he is dating someone that Gina and her father would disapprove of. He promises to introduce her to that person at the welcome party. Kitty meets Gina and tells her about her mother, Eve Song, and reveals that Eve and Gina were friends in high school. Gina avoids talking to Kitty about Eve, which Kitty finds odd. Kitty is escorted to her dormitory, which is surprisingly empty. Kitty talks to her father and informs him that she has landed safely and will surprise Dae at the welcome party that night. Kitty falls asleep and wakes up in time for the party. He gets dressed and comes. At a party, Kitty meets Miho and his friend Q. Miho is always rude to her, but Q is nice to Kitty. Miho and Q befriend Dae, and Kitty sees Dae for the first time in 4 years. Kitty runs to Dae and they kiss. Dae is delighted and surprised to learn that Kitty has transferred to the school, but Yuri suddenly joins them. Kitty is heartbroken as she leaves the party after Yuri tells her Dae is her boyfriend. Kitty begins with Kitty finishing up a welcome party. She meets Alex, a Korean of Australian descent who is KISS. New teacher. Kitty is shocked and wonders why Dae didn't come out to comfort her. Meanwhile, everyone at school is shocked to see that Dae and Yuri were dating. Yuri stops Dae from talking to Kitty, afraid his mother will notice. Yuri tries to call Juliana, his current partner, and ask if she will be at the welcome party, but the call goes awry and worries Yuri. Kitty returns to the party and demands answers from Dae. He first talks to Q and Miho, but they are shocked to learn that Dae's American friend, Kitty, has arrived in South Korea. Yuri takes Dae to introduce him to his parents, after which they meet with the administrator. He tells Dae that his tuition has been paid in full. She thanks Yuri for paying her royalties in return for impersonating her boyfriend for the night. Dae wonders what Yuri's parents would think if they found out he was dating his guardian driver's son. Gina introduces Yuri Madison, another exchange student who happens to be in South Korea for his father's business interests. Madison's father and Yuri's father were about to become business partners, and Gina asks Yuri to befriend Madison. Yuri introduces Day as her boyfriend, which shocks Gina, but she makes a happy face in front of Madison. When Madison and Gina leave, Kitty confronts Day about Yuri and her cheating, but Yuri claims that Kitty cheated because she already knew Kitty. Kitty has pushed aside while everyone turns their attention to Day and Yuri. Yuri's father is also shocked when he learns that Yuri is dating his chauffeur's son. Kitty is angered by the sight and falls into the cupcake tower, leading to a scene before leaving the party. On the way to the dorm, Kitty makes a phone call at the airport and, heartbroken, plans the next flight to the United States. Day tries to talk to Kitty, but she ignores all his messages. However, Kitty is shocked that her roommates are Q, Miho, and Day. Kitty overhears Miho telling Day that he and Kitty aren't dating, which upsets her. The boys are shocked to learn that Kitty, a girl, ended up in their dorm by mistake. Hugh concludes that as a boy she is confused because of her middle name Song. Day tries to talk to Kitty, but she doesn't try. She asks him to return her mother's necklace, which she lent him after her mother died. Day nonchalantly approaches the necklace, which breaks Kitty's heart even more. Enter his room and kick Day out. Miho tells Day that Yuri was the best thing that ever happened to him, but Q controls his feelings for Kitty. Day tries to text Kitty about his feelings, but she appears to have blocked him. Kitty texts the sisters about Day's betrayal. Meanwhile, Yuri still can't get through to Juliana. He watches a controversial video of his father berating hotel staff. The next morning, Kitty ignores Day's banging on her bedroom door and heads to the airport to fly back to the United States. However, he notices a cherry tree that his mother was taking photos with. He takes this as a sign to stay when Day wakes up to find Kitty gone. At the same time, Yuri's father, Han Sung-jin, gets caught up in a scandal over a controversial video of an attack on hotel staff. Sung-jin's advisors decide that he should use Yuri's relationship with Day, their driver's son, to show how nice he is. The Han family decides to take advantage of the situation. Meanwhile, Day runs to find Kitty and tries to persuade her to stay. He is about to kiss her when Day's father interrupts and takes him to the Han family. Meanwhile, Yuri is in the car with his father, who is talking about an internship he organized for Day. Kitty follows her and sees Day getting in the car with Yuri. Yuri greets Day and tells him about the press conference they attended together. Day is shocked and wonders why their one-night stand got so messy. Day is driven to the car and Yuri says goodbye to Kitty on the way home. Kitty decides not to come out and joins Miho and Q to attend the press conference Day attended. Kitty claims she chose not to drop out of school because she wanted to relive her mother's youth. She is shocked to see a press interview in which Day seems forced to praise Yuri's father. Yuri's father's public image improves when he announces Day as the new intern for the project and publicly hails him as Yuri's friend. Kitty observes Day's behavior during the interview and is certain that by the end of the episode, Day is pretending to be dating Yuri. Day's house, where he plans to sign an NDA non-disclosure agreement for Yuri's father. Assuming the real Day and Yuri were having an affair, Sung-jin asks Day to sign a non-disclosure agreement to protect his daughter. Day's sister is thrilled to learn about their relationship, but her father fears Day is on to something serious after it went viral on the internet. Day learns that his sister is being bullied at school because of her financial situation and promises to buy her new shoes with the money he earned from his internship. Kitty is getting ready for school this morning and Q is starting to get along with her. Miho is still cold towards her, but Day stops him from reporting Kitty to the dorm guard. Day tries to tell Kitty about his relationship with Yuri and how he pretended to be rich all those years. Day claims he was worried that Kitty wouldn't be with him if she knew he was poor, but their conversation is cut short when Q and Miho drag Day into class. Day promises to explain everything to Kitty. Meanwhile, Yuri texts Juliana to tell her how much she missed her. A flashback reveals that Yuri's servant caught her trying to kiss Juliana. Back to the present, paparazzi are standing in front of K.ISS trying to capture Yuri and Dae together. Dae gives him the contract he signed and they pretend to go together. Dae asks Yuri if he can tell Kitty that they pretended to be together. She warns him against disclosure but then tells him that she is dating Juliana and is trying to keep this a secret from her parents. Yuri collapses from missing her girlfriend, but Dae helps her avoid the mush as he gives Yuri a piggyback ride. Kitty notices them together and is convinced that Dae is pretending to be dating Yuri. People at school call Kitty Portland stalker, but she tries to ignore the negative comments. Yuri asks Dae to write her summer homework, so Dae drops Yuri's essay and says he can't wait to stop playing with her. At that moment, Juliana sneaks into the school and tells Yuri that she moved because they got caught. Yuri is sorry, but Juliana asks Yuri to spend the year and promises to return to kiss soon. Two girls kiss in the janitor's room when Yuri goes to class. Professor Lee meets up with Jean to tell him that Yuri asked Dae to write an essay for his summer homework. Jean sides with her daughter and asks Professor Lee to prove that Dae wrote the essay for her. Professor Alex helps Kitty in her class and bids farewell to Professor Lee, who is also traveling to the same class. Professor Lee goes hard on Alex, leaving him confused by her attitude. Kitty realizes that Yuri and Dae are in class together and gets even more angry. After class, Professor Lee tells Kitty that she is way below her classmates and needs private tutoring. During the lunch break, Kitty is noticed by all the other cliques and forces her to sit down with Q. Kitty tells Q that she thinks Dae's relationship with Yuri is wrong, but he thinks Dae is confused because he is dating Kitty himself. Kitty sees that Dae isn't happy with Yuri and is sure she will make Dae confess. Q gets distracted by French expat student Florian and Kitty dons matching shoes to hang out with them. Yuri is called into Gina's office and asked to show her credit card for cheating on summer homework. Yuri makes a deal with her mother, who proposes that she get permission to go to a DJ festival in Iceland if Yuri controls her behavior. Kitty comes to chemistry class after lunch and sits next to Miho. They argue, which ends with Kitty telling the whole class that Miho was in a diaper commercial when he was a baby. Miho is embarrassed when the class erupts in laughter, prompting Professor Alex to allow the students to switch lab partners. Kitty manages to get Florian to sit down with Q. After class, Kitty goes to the library and is introduced to Dae, who will be her tutor. She finds photos of her mother and hopes that she too will find her place in the school. Eunice tells Yuri that Kitty fired Miho for doing a commercial. Yuri wonders how Kitty knew about something so personal, while Eunice blames Dae. Yuri is concerned and disturbs Dae and Kitty in the library. When Dae tries to confess that his relationship with Yuri is fake, Yuri shows up. He tells Dae that Kitty told the whole school Miho's secret. Yuri secretly warns Dae about the non-disclosure agreement and leaves. Confused and shocked, Dae decides to end things with Kitty, who tells her his relationship with Yuri was real. Dae returns the necklace to Kitty and leaves it in the library. That night, Q tells Kitty her trick worked, and Florian follows him on social media. A hospital tag falls out of Kitty's mother's photo book. She is shocked to learn that Eve, her mother, gave birth to a boy in South Korea in 1993, long before she was even born. Kitty is moved to a room in a female dormitory. When he walks in, he finds that his new roommate is a sloppy gambler who left the room as it was. Kitty spends the next few days trying her best to live with the dirty girl. She tells Professor Lee about it, but he tells Kitty that there are no other empty rooms in the dorms. She just has to try to make it work. That evening, Kitty talks to Q and tells him how much she missed talking to Dae, her best friend. Q tells Kitty that Yuri doesn't like the outdoors and asks her to go on a field trip with the nature club the next morning. The next morning, Dae and Q go for a hike, but Miho urges Kitty to join them with Q. Q immediately calls Yuri and tells her that Kitty and Dae will be spending more time together. Yuri shows up on the ride and stops Dae from talking to Kitty. Miho also appears and meets Madison. Yuri gets nervous when an insect lands on her and Kitty takes the opportunity to talk to Dae. They share a moment when Dae helps Kitty not fall, but Yuri interrupts him and makes fun of Kitty. The two girls get into an argument that prompts them to run to the top of the hike. Kitty is the first to orgasm and tells Yuri, who follows, about her experiences with her mother. Yuri also tells how she was neglected by her mother as a child. The two girls begin to bond, but Yuri becomes possessive when Dae joins them. He asks Kitty to take a picture of the couple. Kitty notices the hospital thanks to her mother's tag in the background of the photo and decides to run to the hospital. Kitty arrives and asks the receptionist to show her mother's birth certificate, but is dismissed due to patient confidentiality. Kitty uses her matchmaking skills to make the nurses fall in love with each other before sneaking into the file room. She somehow manages to find out the details of her mother's birth and learns that her half-brother was adopted in Australia. She is caught by the hospital staff but asks to call Professor Alex, who arrives just in time to save her. Meanwhile, Hugh invites Florian and a few other friends over for a movie night, but Miho breaks down at the parade while talking about the movie backstage because his mom was there. Florian eventually leaves but asks Hugh to limit the next film date to just the two of them. On the first day, Dae becomes an intern at Yuri's father's company. There he is forced to sit at a desk without any significant work. Meanwhile, Alex manages to save Kitty from the hospital staff. Kitty tells Alex about her birth and adoption into an Australian family and asks if he ever wanted to meet his birth parents. Kitty suddenly realizes that Alex could be his half-brother. Kitty rushes to the boys' dorm to tell Q about Alex. Meanwhile, Dae apologizes to Miho for telling Kitty his secret. Miho is sure Dae still has feelings for Kitty but tells Dae that he found Kitty's dream stream online. In Q's room, Q can't believe Alex is Kitty's half-brother but claims he's probably with KISS to learn more about Eve's song. Q asks Kitty to calm down, but Dae and Miho tell Kitty that she is being filmed while she sleeps. The four decide to let Kitty sleep in the boys' dorm, and she agrees to sleep with Q while Miho shares the same room. Dae and Kitty try to move in together. They agree to work together as friends, but Kitty claims her relationship with Yuri will make it difficult for her. Dae is about to tell her the truth, but she leaves him alone. Kitty and Q are on their way to class, but Q notes that she can't help but mention that Alex is her half-brother. In Q, Kitty confronts Alex during Chuseok's annual vacation when all the other Korean students go home, leaving the expats behind. Gina tells the students that Chuseok is an important holiday for South Koreans. Kitty is looking forward to celebrating the festival, but Professor Lee deceives her when he gives her a 5 on the test and asks her to take time to study during the break. On the way to her next class, Kitty talks to Alex and invites him to an exclusive dinner she is hosting for expats. Alex promises to show up if Kitty bothers to cook, prompting Kitty to go shopping. Miho meets Kitty at the supermarket and takes care of cooking Chuseok for Kitty. Kitty learns that Miho has spoken to the idol in training who will soon be his girlfriend. Meanwhile, things aren't going well at the Han house, where Yuri's parents also fight over the holidays. Yuri raises Kitty's mother with Gina and the principal becomes defensive. At the dorm, Kitty is shocked that Miho is such a good cook and the two spend time talking while Dae mentions the loss of her mother. Kitty decides to contact Dae, who has returned home with his family. Meanwhile, Yuri visits Dae for dinner with his father and sister at his family's home. Yuri brings Dae's mother a present and tells her that her mother died 3 years ago. She realizes she doesn't know much about Dae, but spends the rest of the dinner getting along with her family. Kitty befriends Miho, and the two somehow have a good time together. At expat Chuseok's dinner, Madison becomes obsessed with Miho when Alex shows up with Professor Lee, who is present at the dinner, to check on the students who were still on campus. Dinner is awkward at first, but Kitty forces Miho to sit with Alex. Kitty gives a warm toast to her mother and all other expat families. Kitty befriends Alex and tells him more about his family. Miho decides to leave dinner earlier to meet his idol girlfriend but gets a stomachache on the way. During dinner, Kitty learns from Professor Lee that most East Asians are lactose intolerant, so she avoids the mashed potatoes she made with goat cheese. Kitty receives an SOS message from Miho asking for help. She recalls having him taste some of the mashed potatoes and rushes to help. Kitty uses her skills to get her practicing friend Miho to reschedule the appointment. Miho thanks Kitty for saving her and calls her Covey, as Peter called his sister Lara Jean. At the same time, Dae lets Yuri out, grateful that she decided to take the time to bond with her family. As they leave, Yuri meets a delivery boy who was there to deliver Kitty's necklace to Dae. She reads Kitty's message to Dae and decides to keep the necklace with her. Yuri returns home to find that his father made dinner for his mother. He apologizes to his mother before going to his room. Kitty meets Alex and is about to tell him the secret that they have the same mother. Alex shocks Kitty when she tells her that Professor Lee was his father. Kitty can't get over her mother dating Professor Lee, while Alex is shocked to learn that Kitty is her half-sister. The episode ends with Gina collecting and burning a photo of her and Eve from the school yearbook. Miho wakes up from a dream in which he kisses Kitty, which confuses him. Meanwhile, Kitty tries to get Professor Alex to tell Professor Lee about his paternity. Alex rejects Kitty and tells her that she doesn't want to impose herself on Lee. He just wants to know more about his birth father. She tries to get him to talk to his sisters, but Alex asks Kitty to retire and study for exams. Hugh tells Kitty that she has been obsessed with the same things for a week and asks Kitty to live as if she came to Korea. Embarrassed about transforming into Lara Jean, Kitty turns to Q for help. Hugh tells Kitty about Miho's party that night and Kitty is sure that she will have her first kiss with anyone. Yuri is also dressed for the party and lies to her mother that she is dating Dae. Gina is proud that Dae is bringing out the best in Yuri and is happy that her daughter is out of trouble. Yuri is sad that he betrayed his mother's trust and tells Dae how bad he is. Take Dae to Miho's party. Miho claims the party was just for his guests when Madison shows up and confuses him. Kitty comes to the party completely changed and Miho is shocked at how much he likes her. Dae also raves about how beautiful Kitty is while Dae misses Kitty. Kitty asks Q and Florian to distract her while Florian mixes alcohol in her drink. Kitty scans the other kids in the club trying to find someone to talk to. She spots Dae with Yuri and tries to strike up a conversation with Kitty, but she ignores them and talks to the man at the bar. The boy ends up cursing Yuri, so Kitty comes to his defense and punches him for speaking badly about what Yuri has talked. Yuri, listening to the conversation, is touched by Kitty's gesture. Meanwhile, Yuri and Dae become friends on the dance floor. Dae leaves the call to speak to Kitty and she tells him she wasn't grateful for her gift. Dae is confused. Upset that she can't find anyone to date or kiss at the party, Kitty ends up calling Professor Alex to talk about it. Alex runs nearby and reaches the clubhouse after suddenly losing connection. A drunk kitten accidentally texts Professor Lee instead of Alex, telling him she's at the party. Kitty is about to kiss the bad guy who humiliated Yuri, but Yuri arrives just in time to save her. Professor Lee calls Gina, who finds Yuri's phone and learns the name of the nightclub the students went to. Dae has Q and Florian explain the gift Kitty was talking about and they reveal details about the necklace. Dae is sure that Yuri is behind it and tells Kitty about it. Kitty misunderstands Dae and assumes he wants to tell her how much he loves Yuri. Miho watches Kitty and Dae together and kisses Madison out of resentment. On the other hand, Kitty tells Dae that she is ready to find someone new and Dae confronts Yuri about the necklace. However, the party is cut short when the teachers arrive at the club and most of the kids run away. The next day, Kitty wakes up and dreams of kissing Yuri at the end of the episode. Kitty tries to talk to Q about her dream about Yuri. Miho hears and eventually lets go that he had a similar wet dream about Kitty. Kitty is disgusted by the comment and the trio concludes such dreams mean nothing. Meanwhile, at home, Gina is furious with Yuri for causing controversy when a popular Korean gossip site posts photos of her leaving a party with Dae. Gina wants to restore her family's public image and wonders if she can take a picture of Yuri with Dae at church. Yuri promises to do as her mother wants before going to school, where she and the others caught at the party face arrest. At the cafeteria, Dae asks to break up with Yuri as he didn't want to leave Kitty in Yuri's cafeteria. Yuri apologizes for stealing Kitty's necklace and says she was scared of losing Dae, who was just starting to befriend her. Meanwhile, Yuri goes to Kitty's assigned room in the girls' dorm to return the necklace but finds that Kitty has been sleeping with Dae and the boys for a whole year. Yuri is nervous. Students gather in the library for detention. Hugh worries that dating him has caused Florian's grades to drop. Florian promises that he has everything under control since Professor Lee liked him very much as a student. Students' phones will be confiscated for the next 8 hours of detention. Professor Lee tells the other students that Kitty is to blame for the party's failure and Miho is visibly upset. Madison joins Miho in custody despite having no criminal record. At the same time, Dae wonders if Yuri talked to Kitty. Kitty fights back but passes out when she sees Kitty enter the library. Dae catches Yuri with the necklace and confronts her. Yuri tells him that she knew Kitty was breaking the school rules and is staying with them. Threatens to expose Kitty if Dae tries to break up with her. Kitty also notices the necklace and tells Yuri about it when Gina shows up at the detention center to check on the children. Gina notices that Yuri is wearing a necklace and calls it her own, confusing Yuri and Kitty. Professor Lee follows Gina outside and asks her why she hid the fact that Kitty was Eve's daughter. Jean asks Professor Lee what this information meant to him and leaves the conversation. All the students are doing their homework when Professor Lee has to use the bathroom. He puts Madison in charge of the incarcerated students and leaves. Madison manages the organized chaos at the library by letting the students explore the rare books section. Miho is amazed that Madison is cool. Yuri invites Kitty to go with her near the yearbooks, where they try to find the 1993 yearbook for her graduation. Yuri wants to learn more about her mother's past to destroy Gina, unlike Kitty, who just wants to get to know her mother better. Kitty and Yuri decide to work together and wonder if Professor Lee and their mothers had a love triangle. There may be clues in Gina's office, so the two Ginas check emails and find out that she deliberately expelled Juliana from school. Yuri is even more angry with his mother and upset about the situation. Meanwhile, Kitty discovers that Gina always knew she was Eve's daughter. Yuri calls his mother a liar and wonders what she is hiding. They conclude that Professor Lee would own a copy of the 1993 yearbook since he was also the alma mater of K.I.S.S. They decide to sneak into Lee's house to find his vintage copy. Professor Lee returns to the library, happy that Madison has kept his decency. He doesn't notice that Kitty and Yuri are missing and asks the group to assemble a food order list. Dae worries that Miho knows what he wants to order Kitty compared to having been with Kitty for so long. Miho tells Dae that Kitty wasn't just in Korea to see him, but to learn more about her mother. Professor Lee decides to attend the gathering before lunch, but Florian distracts him by asking to borrow a copy of Gilgamesh that isn't in the library. Overjoyed to give a copy to a needy student, he decides to go home to bring it to Florian. Kitty calls Hugh on Professor Lee's landline and tells him they're at his house. Hugh goes to the clock but doesn't tell Kitty that Lee is going home. The girls hide in the closet while Lee picks up a copy of the novel and heads back to school. Kitty and Yuri finally find the yearbook, followed by a photo of Gina and Eve together. Yuri points out that it seems that her mother gained a lot of weight at that time. Kitty realizes that it was Gina who was pregnant with Alex and not her mother. Yuri returns Kitty's necklace and puts it on her, which evokes many different feelings in Kitty. Then they take a shortcut to get to the library across from Professor Lee. However, Lee beats up the girls and begins checking attendance. Madison distracts Professor Lee again and the girls return to their seats. Yuri claims she was crazy when she stole Kitty's necklace and promises to fix everything. He borrows Q's watch to make an important call when Q finds out Kitty's wet dream was about Yuri and promises to keep it a secret between them. The confinement ends with Professor Lee returning phones to the students while Kitty finds Alex. She shows Alex the yearbook and tells the young teacher that Gina could be his mother. The paparazzi are waiting outside to catch Yuri and Day together, so Yuri makes an elaborate scene and publicly dumps him for being in love with Kitty. Yuri tells Day that he is now free of the fake relationship and is leaving. Yuri texts his mother to tell her that he broke up with Day because he found out that Gina was responsible for Juliana's transfer. Kitty, who has been watching the breakup all along, is shocked to see Day grab her and kiss her. Kitty ignores her dream about Yuri and kisses Day at the end of the episode. Love was in the air with three couples, Kitty, Day, Madison Min-ho, and Q Florian across town and on campus. However, Kitty was unwilling to move beyond the conversation unless Day explained why he did this to Yuri. So that she could trust him again, she said at least. The class went camping and Kitty gave Alex a baby bracelet. Yuri noticed the distance between Kitty and Day as she took the bus. He asked and agreed to sleep with Kitty to fill the void. In her tent, Yuri admitted that she and Day were just faking it. Kitty also learned the reason for the deception. Used Margot, his sister who moved to England, to find Juliana and let Yuri talk to her. Kitty even understood Yuri's actions and claimed to support her. However, she admitted that she was angry that everything that was happening was hurting her. The next day, Day went to Yuri to help him reach Kitty. It helped him and the result was that Kitty's attitude was softened. The two had a romantic evening in a tree house by the sea, which Day recounted upon seeing Kitty chasing another boy. He felt like his stomach had been ripped open. Min-ho and Madison broke up because they were looking for different things. The episode ended with Yuri connecting with Juliana via video call. As they talked, Kitty witnessed exactly what Day did when he wasn't with her. Kitty had to do well in her semesters to have any hope of returning to AISS. Day, Q, and Min-ho agreed to prepare them for the exams. Alex has finally worked up the courage to reveal himself to Lim. He said he found out the truth about Lee. Surprised at first, Lim admitted the truth and realized that Kitty had helped Alex. Principal Lim came home and told her husband the truth. Alex made her pay for leaving. Yuri heard this and decided to leave home. As he packed, Lim tried to explain that he was acting in the best interests of his family at the time. Yuri replied that her relationship with Day was fake and ended up going to her mother. After he left, Yuri moved in with Day, Q, Min-ho, and Kitty. Kitty was torn between deciding to tell Yuri who her stepbrother is and keeping Alex a secret. Meanwhile, the group went for coffee and saw Florian with another man. Min-ho clicked on the photos and took on Florian the next day. After he left, they showed photos of Q, comparing her to Florian. Lee offered students a chance to earn a 10-point bonus if they performed Korean traditional art in the end-of-semester talent show. Yuri taught Kitty the fan dance, where Kitty almost gave free rein to her love. Juliana also suspected the same thing, but Yuri dismissed her concerns by saying that Kitty was straight. It was said when Kitty had headphones on, but she took them off for a moment and heard it. Kitty went to meet Alex and found that he was leaving. She urged him to stay while Yuri and Lim heard from him. She walked away full of emotions. In the bedroom, Alex announced to Kitty that she had passed her second grade in chemistry. At the end of the semester program, Lim finally challenged Han. She went backstage and accidentally revealed that Alex was Yuri's brother. Lim thought Kitty would tell Yuri. This information infuriated Yuri, and he spoke of his friendship with Kitty in the past tense. They fought on stage and Kitty slipped and crashed into a pyro machine. Her traditional costume caught fire and Min-ho ran onto the stage to save her. Day was jealous and told his friend to stay away from his girlfriend. Lim led Alex and Yuri out of the auditorium after another outburst from her husband. Lee was invited to follow them. Kitty told Dae that she had feelings for someone else. He thought it was Min-ho and went to attack him. Kitty stopped him and said it was Yuri. When Dae asked her when she replied, "From the party." Hearing this, he wondered why she had returned to him. Dae let go of Kitty and walked away. Distraught, Kitty called home to seek comfort and was told what she was going through was typical of a 17-year-old overseas student going to college. Lee discovered the truth about Alex and Lem explained why she was hiding it. Lee was angry and asked Alex if they could go somewhere to talk. When Lem tried to make sure she and Yuri could participate too, Lee said he was too mad at her. Kitty started packing her big suitcase and Q asked her why. He said he was prepared for the worst. Kitty then finds out that Florian cheated on his exams because he dropped out of school because of his affair. She adopted a moral attitude that brought her into temporary conflict with Q. Yuri returned home and became friends with her mother, who brought her two important messages. On the day of the results, Kitty is finally discovered and expelled from the boys' boarding school. She tried to make a catchy speech to escape her fate but only embarrassed herself in the cafeteria. Kitty packed her things and left, and met Lim on campus. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you found it enjoyable and informative. Your support means a lot, and I appreciate your engagement. If you have any feedback or suggestions, I'd love to hear them. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.